Hey everybody, it's Judy Klock here at Stampin' with Crafty Klock. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Middletown, Virginia, and I help busy people make the most of their crafting time with quick, easy, and fun cards that are sure to surprise and delight those who get them. So today, again, I'm continuing with kind of focusing on our designer series paper, and I'm going to show you two fun folds using that gorgeous one-horse open sleigh designer series paper that will be available for purchase on July 6th. If you were here last Tuesday at my lesson at lunch, not this past Tuesday, but a week ago Tuesday, I showed you a really cute fun fold that used the entire 6-inch width of the paper. These two fun folds I have for you today are similar. They're going to use the majority of that beautiful 6-inch width of paper, but we're going to shorten it a little bit and take some off the top and the bottom. Normally, you know that normally I do a simple stamping card and one a little bit more stepped up. But today with these fun folds, we are going to go really kind of more stepped up, only because of the die cuts. That's really the only reason that would make this a more advanced card, not a beginner card. But I think that if you don't have the die cuts, you could certainly fussy cut out the stamped image. So I think even a beginner could do these cards. And I love when cards, just with a few different score lines and folds, you can get a completely different card, and it looks complicated, but it's really not. Take this one, for example. This is going to be the first one we're going to do. It folds flat to the 5.5 by 4 1/4, but it's kind of, I don't remember what it's called. I want to say like a theater card or a stage card, because it kind of has that, like that popped up effect. It's kind of 3-dimensional. I keep doing this. I keep forgetting to move my camera. Better now, we can see that. If you're watching live, go ahead and jump in on the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. I love to see where everybody is tuning in from. Like I said, I'm in Middletown, Virginia. So this is using one of those beautiful 6-inch by 6-inch designer series paper. And we're going to just look at all those papers in a minute. So this is our first fun fold. And again, it's not complicated. This is the only thing, this die cut image is the only thing that would make it beyond a beginner. But if you just stamp this and cut it out and colored it like we did for our second card, really a beginner could do this. I promise you, it's not hard. It's just knowing where to score and where to fold. And that's really the secret to a lot of these cards. The next one is a sidestep card. Again, looks complicated, right? But it's really not. And I have to give credit to Lynn Starzl, and I will put her YouTube channel in the comments after this this video is done. She did something very similar, and I really liked it because I liked how much of the paper you got to use. And I did tweak a little bit on it, but other than that, it's pretty much copied from Lynn Starzl. So, but with Stampin' Up, we case everything. We copy and share everything. Just when you do that, make sure you give credit back to the crafter who you got the design from. So again, Lynn Starzl was the one for the sidestep card. All right, let's take a look at this gorgeous designer series paper. I did this last week. Now, this is part of the One Horse Open Sleigh suite of products that will be available for purchase on July 6th. So you get 48 pieces of this beautiful 6x6 paper. It is, you get 4 each of 12 designs. So again, one side has this beautiful scene. The other side is just sort of a pattern. Let me see if I can push these over so that you can see them. Let me move my camera. There we go. All right, is that better? I'm trying to make sure I get enough of the camera. Okay, so you can see beautiful scene on one side, pattern on the other. Just that little deer cute. He's so cute, little fox. I just think these are so cute. I might have to like frame this and put something about the crafty foxes in there because that's our team name. So I might have to do something with that one. We'll see. And I am going live using StreamYard. So if you want to make a comment and you want me to see your name, go ahead and just authorize StreamYard to show me who you are. Okay. And there we go. So we have got those. Now these are the two scenes we're going to be using today for our cards. We're going to be cutting this designer series paper together. Okay, so that is the designer series paper. The suite also comes with these beautiful adhesive snowflakes, which we will be using. There are 3 colors, copper, gold, and white. And then, of course, we have the horse and sleigh stamp set and the dies. And I will show you the dies here. So the dies will cut out the stamped images of the horse and sleigh, the little bunny, this leafless tree, and I guess this is supposed to be like an evergreen tree with the needle still on it. Then it's got this extra tree here. This piece and this piece are sleigh accents. I don't know if you can see them here, but the silver. So this goes around the sleigh and this goes on the runners. So you can accent those areas. And then, of course, we have our snowdrifts. So there's a total of 9 dies in here. So 4 for images that you can stamp and cut, and then looks like 5 for accent pieces. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So for our first card, we're going to do this little midnight, Misty Moonlight. So this piece is 4 1/4 inches wide by 8 inches long. So we're just gonna, not our typical 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, but that's because when it folds, we want it to be 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. So we're going to score it at 1 1/4, at 2 1/2. And don't worry about writing these measurements down. I will have a corresponding blog post by tomorrow that will give you all the measurements that you will need to do this card. So just make sure, and I'll link it in the description below this video. So everything will be there for you. So I don't want you to rush and think you have to write everything down. So 1 1/4, 2 1/2. I want to make sure I get this right. 5 1/2 and 6 3/4. So that is our card base. Okay, then we're going to need another piece of Misty Moonlight that's 1 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, now we're going to cut our designer series paper. We're going to cut it to, let me bring my, and I'm cutting this, normally I would probably cut this to about 1 inch, but because I want to use as much of this beautiful paper as I can, so I only need 4 inches. So I'm going to cut this, I'm going to cut off 1 inch from the bottom and then 1 inch from the top to get my 4 inches. Okay, because I want to try to keep as much of it as I can. All right. Now I'm going to cut this at 1 1/8. Okay, so I'm going to cut these two at 1 1/8. And 1 1/8. I'm going to cut this at 2 3/4. No, I'm not. How did I screw that up? I screwed that up. All right, let me get out the other piece. Don't do what I just did. That's not right. I don't know what oh, it was supposed to be 7/8 of an inch. That was it. Okay. I'm like, I know that I had that calculated correctly, but apparently I didn't do it as much as I had thought. And of course, I wrote it down somewhere and I don't remember where I wrote it. So, and now I'm not going to find my last piece of that one. Okay. Well, we're going to have to use a different piece because I can't find my house. Okay, let's go ahead and use, of course, I can't find any of the pieces that I want right now. That's the one I'm using for the next one. Sorry about this. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's go ahead and use this piece here. All right, so I'm going to cut off, make this 4 inches. Okay, we're going to do 7/8 and 7/8. Okay. Now to make sure I have enough in the center, I'm going to flip this around and do 7/8 and then one more 7/8. Okay. Now just remember how these all go together. Okay. This is how they all go together. So now we're going to start and we're going to put them on our cards. We're going to just start from the left and work all the way to the right. Okay. So we're going to put this one down. And I slammed my finger in the screen door the other day and it's all bruised. And the nail looks very yucky because it's all black and blue. It hurt very much. I might have said a few bad words when I did it. I was trying to let one of my, I have 6 dogs. I don't know if you know that I have 6 dogs. I have 6 dogs because we are completely crazy. I was trying to let one of them out who wasn't feeling well without having all of them go out. So I went to go close the door really quickly and I was too quick and did not get my fingers out of the way. All right, so now that big wider panel goes in the center and then we're just going to finish out and put this here and here. And I didn't get my finger out of the way in time and yeah, it hurt a lot. So always make sure you get your fingers out of the way of the door because not a good thing. So, oh well, live and learn, right? But yeah, it was and it was kind of like early in the morning and you know, my husband I think was still sleeping, so I was trying not to make a lot of noise because I didn't want to wake everybody up and ouch. All right, so now this piece we're going to put over here. Okay, well, let's do this first. I want to put a piece of white on the back, just a plain piece of white that is 2 3/4 by 4, and that's where we're going to stamp our greeting. I don't have a greeting that I want to put on this one yet, so I'm going to come back and put my greeting on later, but I wanted to show you that's where you would put a piece of paper so that you can write a greeting and, you know, write a note if you want to send this as a holiday card, you know, hey, Shirley, you know, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and just sign it and off you go. Okay, so we're going to put this piece here. Right now, you can use either liquid glue or Stampin' Seal. I am going to use glue just because it's a little more forgiving and I have a little bit of extra time to make sure that I'm putting it in the right place. So you want to match up these edges, the bottom edge and that left edge. You want to make sure that that is really matched up well. And I forgot to mention that as you fold it, we have a mountain fold, a valley fold, a valley fold, and a mountain fold. Okay, so then we're going to bring this piece over here and we're going to add glue and we're going to adhere it to this piece. Okay, there we go. Now, here's a great little trick. We cut this off from the top, right? And it's still in the same color. So I am going to take a piece. This is 1 1/2, 1 1/4. I'm going to cut this to 1 inch by 5 1/2, and I'm going to put it on top of that section. So 1 inch. And again, we're using our wonderful designer series paper. It will kind of match. It will blend in with the snow. Should we do that one or should we do that one? Actually, I think I like this one better. Now that I've done it and, you know, have made a mistake and hey, it happens. It happens to the best of us, right? All you can do is move on. All right, let's go ahead and add this to that strip. Okay, again, not necessary. It just adds, I think, just another little element that ties everything together, and it's still all that beautiful designer series paper. Now we've got our sleigh silhouette, and I am just going to go and add a little bit of glue along the runner and along the horse's hooves, and we will call this one done. Now, you can go and add as many embellishments as you want. You can add the snowflakes, you can add the rhinestones. I'm going to keep this a little bit simple, and this is just going to be my card. So that's card number 1, okay? Again, it wasn't hard. It really was just a couple of score lines and folds, and you've got a really pretty card. Actually, I think I like this better than my sample card. Honestly, I think that scene just is a better scene. All right, let's go ahead and work on our second one. Now, this one is a little bit more involved, only because of the way we have to cut and score our card. Now, for this one, I have chosen to use this designer series paper. Okay. And we're going to, we have our piece of paper here. Now, I have made up a diagram of how you have to cut it and score it. This diagram, a photo of this diagram, will also be on the corresponding blog post. So you don't need to, if you want to get a screenshot now, let me put this up a little bit so we can get the whole thing. If you want to get a screenshot now, you can, but this will be on the website. So the thick black lines are our cut lines, and the thick red lines are our score lines. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this piece together. Now, I found that when I'm working with dark cardstock, I like to have a little piece of white over here because I need to see these markings, and it just makes it easier. So I'm going to move this. I want to be 1 inch in from each edge. So this is the 5.5 inch side across the top. I'm going to move it down to the 4.5 inch mark. I'm going to put my piece of white paper back so I can see. Okay, now I don't want my scoring tool. I want to take my cutting blade and put it at the 1 inch mark. So that's kind of why I have to have that white paper there so I can see where that 1 inch mark is. Then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to come down to the 5 1/4 inch mark, and I'm going to cut that to the 5 1/4 inch mark. Okay, so we've got that. Now, I need to go 1 inch from this edge. So I can either move this over to the 1 inch mark, or I could just flip it over, which is what I'm going to do, and do it at the 4 inch mark. I just find that easier for me. That might confuse some people, but as long as you're 1 inch from each edge, we're good. All right, again, I'm going to move this down to the 1 inch, and I'm going to cut down to the 5 1/4 inch. Okay, that is it for cutting. So we're making 2 cuts, each of them 1 inch from the top and 1 inch in from the left and right edges. And we're going down to the 5 1/4 inch mark. Now I'm going to turn it so the 8.5 inch side is across the top, and we're going to score. Okay, so I need to score it at the 1 inch mark. I'm going to score it from the edge down to that cut line on both sides. Okay, so we're going here. Again, let me put my little white piece of paper in there so I could see. All right, so I'm going from there to the 1 inch mark. Okay, and I'm going to come down here and I'm going to go from the 5 1/4 inch mark. From the 4.5 inch mark down to the 5.5 inch mark. Okay, now we're going to move this over to the 2 inch, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to score it from the edge to the 1 inch mark. And then we're going to score it from the 4.5 inch mark down to the 5.5 inch. Okay. Now we're going to move it to the 4.25 inch mark, and we are going to score it between our cut lines. That means I want to score it from 1 inch to 5.25 inch. Okay. I'm sorry, from 1 inch to 4.5 inch. I'm getting all turned around, from 1 inch to 4.5 inch. And then on the 5.25 inch mark, we want to score it from the edge to 1 inch, and then from 4.5 inches to 5.5. Okay, that is it. Now, this is where I got a little confused earlier. Starting with the 1 inch mark, that becomes a mountain fold. The 2 inch score line becomes a valley fold. The 4.25 inch mark becomes a mountain, and the 5.25 becomes a valley. Okay, so that is how you do it. Now, again, I will have all of this on my blog post. So all of these measurements will be there for you. Okay, so now we're going to cut our designer series paper. We only need about 3 inches. So I am going to actually cut this in half horizontally so that really I can use either this one or this one for the card. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to use the top half. All right, and I'm going to cut, this is 1 inch. I'm going to cut that to 7/8 of an inch. Okay. Our next one, this is, I believe, 3.25 inches. I am going to cut this to 3 1/8. And then I'm going to cut another one at 7/8. Okay. So we are left with a little bit over here that we're not going to use. Okay, let's go ahead and put this together. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put these obviously on the side. This one's going to come in the middle, and we want this bottom edge to sort of be even with our score line. Okay, so let's go ahead. And I found it was easier if I just kind of flattened out the card rather, and went ahead and did this. Okay. There we go. So I just thought that these were 2 really nice folds that made the most of this beautiful designer series paper. Like I said, this will be available for customer purchase on July 6th. If you can't wait and you sign up as a demo, you can get this in your starter kit. And when you sign up by June 30th, you will actually get $155 worth of product for $99. You know, but I mean, that's the cost of the kit, but there's so much value in there because you just really get a great community of stampers, and everyone, at least that I've ever met, has been so nice and so helpful. I just got off a Zoom call this afternoon with demonstrators in Australia and Canada, and we are planning a Christmas in July retreat. So we're pretty excited. So it's great that I was able to meet these women that I might not have otherwise met, and to join them and have fun and enjoy their company. All right, so now I want to cut a piece that is 1 inch by 5.5. I thought I had that, but I guess I didn't. Okay, and we are going to stamp two little like snow drifts on here. I don't know if you remember from the stamp set, but there was this little stamp that looks like snowdrifts. So we're going to stamp that on. If I can find what I'm looking for. And I'm just gonna stamp it there and stamp it there. Okay, now we're ready to go add that. And well, let's do all our stamping while we have this out. And I'm using Night of Navy, and I'm just going to stamp on sentiment for the inside that says, wishing you a season of cheer. Okay. Now I did go ahead and I already stamped the sleigh and die cut it. I only did that for the sake of time. I knew this was going to be a little bit long tonight, and I didn't want to hold everybody up. I like to sort of keep these to about a half an hour. I know everybody's really busy and you have a million things to do. So I really appreciate you taking the time to join me and craft with me and just kind of get ideas and inspiration. At least I hope you're getting ideas and inspiration. I just love to craft with people. Now, I went ahead and I did cut those extra pieces, and I'm going to show you how to put them on. Now, before I cut these, because these are so tiny, I did go ahead and I did put the adhesive sheets on the back, because that just makes life so much easier when you have to go put these on. So if you haven't used adhesive sheets, they simply are a must-have when you are dealing with these really small die-cut pieces. Okay, now I'm just going to start at the back, and you just kind of follow along that black stamped line on the edge of the sleigh. And we just kind of, oh, that adhesive strip didn't come off. Okay, there we go. Okay, and look at how pretty that looks. Doesn't that make the sleigh just look sharp? All right, and we've got them here too for the runners, the sleigh runners. Okay. Like I said, having this adhesive strip on is just so much easier. All right, let me just get that little piece out. That doesn't want to come out tonight. There we go. All right, and again, I'm just going to put this right along the stamped image. And there, how is that? Isn't that great? I just think that really makes the sleigh pop. I love it. All right, let's go ahead and add this to the outside. We're just going to go ahead and put that right there. And again, I'm just going to use a little tiny bit of our liquid glue. Let me get that out of the way. Just because it's easier than trying to get seal on these tiny little areas. And you don't need a lot because we're just going to kind of have it on that bottom edge. So I just put it along the runner and along the horse's hooves. Okay, we're just going to put that there. Now I've got these great little snow drifts. We're going to put these on. These I'm going to pop up with dimensionals. I love dimensionals. I love using dimensionals. I think I'm like a dimensional addict here. Maybe put a little small one here. Love having two sizes. Oh, that didn't want to stick on there. Why didn't that stick on there? We have the regular and the minis. Okay, now we're going to put that there. So we really didn't even need to stamp our little snowdrifts because we're not going to see much of them, but it was still fun to stamp. I don't know, stamping just makes me happy. It makes me smile. I just don't know how you could be unhappy when you are creating something that's so fun, so pretty. And you know, when someone shows you their handmade item, the appropriate response is always, ooh, always the appropriate response. Okay, let's go ahead and add this to the inside. Now, all right, this, if I didn't mention it, this is 3 by 5 1/4. I think I forgot to say what size that was. That was 3 by 5 1/4. Now we've got these great little snowflakes, And we have white, copper, and gold. And I think for here, I think I'm just going to put on the white. And there are 3 sizes. There's a large, a medium, and a small. So you've got 3 choices for snowflakes. Let's put that one over there by the horse. All right. And that is our 2 cards. I hope that you liked these fun folds. Like I said, I love doing cards that look hard, but really, when you think about it, they're really not. This one was probably the hardest of the 2, only because of the way we had to cut it. But really, once you have that done, it's really just a matter of knowing how to fold it, like whether you've got a mountain, a valley, a mountain, and a mountain. So we have actually 3 mountain folds on this and just 1 valley fold. And this one was a mountain, a valley, and a mountain. And again, both of these will fit in a standard A2 envelope. They are both 5.5 by 4.25. But try making these for your Christmas cards this year, or birthday cards, whatever kind of cards you want. I think people will be very impressed by your skill. I hope you had a good time tonight. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and have a great weekend. And I will see you next week. Happy stamping, everybody. Bye.